Since Springfield lifted the panhandling laws earlier this year, seeing people on the street corners has become more common. We decided to take some time to get to know the people behind the signs.
Well, we know we're to minister to the poor, but we're not too sure how we're to minister to the poor. I think if we're going to minister to those folks, first of all, we have to see them. You know, they're not invisible. Yeah, and that means looking them in the eye, learning their names, getting to know them, and that means relationship.
Surprisingly, many were willing to tell us the stories of their challenging lives.
I'm 58 years old. I was born in 1957, December 26th, the day after Christmas. I had a family that really didn't love me. Well, I was a stepchild, and their ways were really misunderstood. And I do talk to the police now and then, and they let me remain a vagrant or a transient in good standing in Springfield, as long as I don't get in any trouble. My Social Security check came through, and it was $1,270 a month. And I thought to myself, the cost of living in Missouri is a lot less expensive than California, where I was in Silicon Valley. That didn't make people here so happy that a slightly schizophrenic man living around town could get drunk every night and collect that kind of money. I didn't sit well with the people here.
I spent a couple of years in group homes and facilities and I jumped in 18 right now, just in adulthood, and I'm out here in the streets.
I think a lot of people look at us, and I really hate people who stop and say get a job. I don't have an ID. I've been riding freight trains around the country since I was 12 years old, basically traveling and as much as I could. Can I say that on camera? Sorry. But that's pretty much been it. I mean, I got out of prison, I don't know, 2 months ago. I went for 5 years and came out and I'm back on the streets.
Well, I'll give you my general philosophy about the homeless. I don't think people choose to be homeless, but over time, their support system, their social support system, or their family or whatever, usually it's because of substance abuse, addiction problems, or maybe personality disorders. Studies show that somewhere in the 75 to 80 percentile range of homeless people have either substance abuse issues, addiction issues, or some sort of mental disorder, mental illness of some sort. So that's a high percentage, say 7 to 8 out of 10 of those. And through a process, they've kind of ripped everybody off, you know, and maybe they were sleeping on a porch, but stole the jewelry and sold that or whatever. And so they get on this downward spiral and they kind of get dumped out onto the street. So I don't think they really choose to be homeless, but then they end up in this situation where they've basically been rejected by all of their support system and society in general.
I mean, we wake up, come out either here or one of the other corners on the highway and fly one of our signs, which we've probably got 1,000 of them, all kind of ridiculous, that just try and make people smile a little bit. And because hopefully if people smile and laugh and don't hate us, then they help us and we eat that day, and then, I don't know, go back to our tent in the woods.
Because nobody wants to look at homeless people, because if I look him in the eye, then I'm going to want to give him some money, or he's going to ask me a question. And so homeless people will attest to having been kind of invisible to most people.
Tell them to stop and say hi, even if you don't give me anything. Because it kind of makes my day, even when somebody stops and just talks and shoots. So if I can get a smile out of them, it makes my day.
So they feel this really keen sense of rejection, and then they get kind of dumped out on the street, and all of a sudden they're in this community of acceptance amongst the other homeless. And so I don't think people choose to be homeless, but I think there are a number of them who have kind of chosen to remain homeless once they've got that way, because there's plenty of support out there in most of our cities through the government net social support systems, through these different agencies that are receiving government funds, you know, to feed them and clothe them and shelter them.
I think the day I got on the first train. I was kind of in a tough spot. I ran away. I was a runaway kid, and had an older guy teach me how to hop on trains and how to be free, I guess. So.
I was born in a small town. Kind of had a rough life. Kind of got into drugs. Got in a lot of trouble. I was in prison by 18, so I didn't really have the incentive.
There's this moment, it seems, a sense of sobriety, this sense of acknowledging, coming to self-awareness of where I am, and I don't have to be here.
Finally get up and go, I want to do something with my life. I'm stuck in this rut.
But in the long run, I think if we're really going to be able to minister to them, we have to be in a place where we're connected enough, not only with them, but also with the support agencies within that community, that if they do come to that aha moment, that place of self-awareness that the prodigal came to in John 15.
I'm out here trying to survive, just like anybody else. I don't have any identification. I sleep under a bridge at night. You do whatever you can to feed yourself that day. Maybe have some clothes on your back. I got 2 shirts, maybe. Whatever you can do. Because no matter how hard life gets, you'll always make it. Because if you can live out here, you can live anywhere.
That never lose the faith, have faith as a mustard seed, and that when it all comes down, it usually turns out right in the end.
One of my favorite theologians, Ray Anderson, argued that Jesus' ministry was never driven by need, because when he stepped out the door, there was huge amount of human need. The entire earth was in need, right? All of humanity was in need, but he was directed by ministry to the Father. So the Father, the Spirit of God, has to direct us in those ministries. Whenever you minister to the least of these, and these folks, these indigent poor and runaway homeless and that, they're certainly the least of these.
Well, just because we're out here on the streets doesn't make us bad people, doesn't mean we're lazy
We don't do it because we see immediate rewards, like the Apostle Paul said. We don't focus on the things which are seen, because the things which are seen are temporary, but we focus on the things which are unseen. The things which are unseen are eternal.
I became a member of the railroad team, retired. Started praying a lot. I usually pray with a little bit of love and a little bit of resentment, but it usually comes out more love than resentment in the end of the prayer.
I mean, it's just crazy because a lot of people have this stigma that anybody who's out there panhandling is using it for drugs or they're just trying to make money, but all these people have had one thing in common, saying that like growing up that they felt like they were either misplaced or that people didn't appreciate them, and most of them ran away from home like before they were 18. So like we barely have to think about independence or really going out and making it for our own before like people are living with their parents till they're in their 20s. And this one guy, he's been jumping on trains since he was 12 years old, so it's just been hard to believe. But I mean, we've hopefully been able to touch their lives. We've got some amazing stories.